everyone is doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I had been wanting to talk about for like, let's see, 3.5 years maybe. So I am going to just get into it. So this video is inspired by a video I saw in November 2020 of a young lady who was dealing with being stalked for 4 years by a former high school mate. And they were people that, from what I remember from the video, they had never really super interacted with each other, and she never gave any indication that she was romantically interested in him. But he was stalking her, and it became a problem for her and her family for 4 years, and they've been dealing with it. I'm not going to pinpoint the lady's name or any more details other than that, just to not give it too much more attention, because I know that's a very, very deeply concerning situation for her. But in that video, I had commented that basically I said it's very stressful, or it would be nice if women didn't have to deal with unwanted male attention. And my comment got 2.8 thousand likes, and then my comment also got 100 replies, and some of those replies were me replying to other people. But most of the over 100 replies were people speaking against what I said, and people who were referring to men who also deal with unwanted female attention. And I was just like, okay, I hear you, but this video is literally talking about a 23-year-old woman who's dealing with something that she shouldn't be dealing with, and that was the point of my comment. It was referring to what the video was talking about. So anyone dealing with unwanted attention from someone that they are not seeking that attention from is something we don't want to be dealing with. And I, as a woman, being a woman, feel for that young lady so much, and it's something that she shouldn't have had to deal with. And people were calling me a Karen in the comments. That is not even what a Karen is. So I was just like, oh brother, please. So my video today, I'm going to be talking about just basically things that I've experienced being a woman, and because I'm a woman. Like, I'm thankful to God that I was born a woman, because I do love being a woman, and I never wanted to be anything else. But I will say, I did not realize I was pretty for like years. I've just been super comfortable in my own skin and never really paid attention to the fact that I am perceived as pretty by some people in my everyday life. I really forget about that most of the time, until something happens. I'm like, oh brother. So I've told someone online, I was like, I mostly wear a mask when I'm on a bus now, and I wear sunglasses, especially during the daytime, because I don't have time or interest in unwanted attention. And let's see, so yeah, I'm just super comfortable in my skin, and I forget how I am perceived by other people. So what I'm going to go through is some incidents that I've had to deal with being a woman. And men can definitely deal with unwanted female attention, even unwanted male attention, and women can deal with the same things. But I'm talking about me as a woman, and what that young lady had to deal with should not be happening. So the first, and I wrote notes for myself, so the first thing I'm going to bring up is when I was 7 years old was the first time that I learned what a catcall was, because my mom I think she had all 5 of us at that point, and she was living separated from her husband for her safety. And we would be walking down the street to go to places or whatever, and there would be construction workers, and my mom was getting catcalled. And I was just like, what is that? What is going on? Why? Like, why? And my mom is super pretty. That's the thing. But it shouldn't be happening. I mean, maybe my mom looked like a teenager with a whole bunch of children. That makes it even worse. Like, if they thought she was a teenager with a whole bunch of children she was babysitting, that just makes it worse, because these were grown men. And I remember they were grown, even being a 7-year-old at the time. So I've experienced catcalling. I never experienced catcalling when I lived in New York City, but I've experienced it where I live now. And I don't like it. I've reported someone one of the times it happened, and the other time it happened, I completely ignored the people that were doing it, and I was just like, Like, if you want someone's attention, you literally go up to them. You don't catcall them. So I was like, I'm ignoring this right now. But the other thing I was going to say related to the cat call is I don't say where I live because of the stories that I'm going to share, because it stresses me out. Like, I would love to say where I live, but I don't really want to because of what I've been dealing with and what I've dealt with. I just don't want to draw attention to that. So I don't say where I live online at all. I've been online since 2016 on Instagram. YouTube, I've been online since maybe 2015, and I was on Facebook for a number of years, but people on Facebook all knew me and knew where I was from, but I did like delete the city that I lived in on Facebook because I realized that people that didn't know me could see where I lived because it was like on the public part. So I deleted that really quickly when I realized that it was very public, and I haven't had it up since. I actually don't have Facebook. I deleted that in December 2023. December 2023. Anyway, so the next point I want to make is car ride offers. So there was a time that people were offering me car ride. Well, there was a time that because there were attacks going on in the city in which I live, that a lady insisted on giving me a ride from the grocery store one time, and I took the ride, not against my better judgment, but because I felt like I could trust her. But I've been offered car rides by strangers all the time, in the dark, in the daylight, and I'm just like, no thank you. But there was a particular time when I did accept it. There was another time I was offered a car ride when I was with my brother. We were returning home from visiting, I think we were visiting people at one of the local nursing homes, and this was years ago, and the weather was supposed to be bad, and there was a couple, a man and a woman, who were driving their car, and they offered us a ride, and I was like, we are really close, it doesn't matter, like, it's okay. But they insisted, and because I was with my brother, and because they were so nice, even though it was weird, we accepted the ride, and they literally took us down the street because we were that close to where we lived, and the weather didn't really get bad that day, if I remember correctly. um let's see okay, another time is, and I've been offered a whole bunch of different car rides, but I'm just bringing up the ones that really stuck with me. Another time I was, let's see, 20 Another time I was coming from the Kingdom Hall in the dark. I could usually get a ride with my friends, but I was trying to leave a little early, so I was leaving the Kingdom Hall in the dark, and I was going to be waiting for the bus for like maybe 5 minutes. And as I was on the same block as the Kingdom Hall, some people in a big old truck were right next to me, and they were like, you need a ride? And it was a woman for sure, and possibly a man. And I was like, no. Like, it just made me uncomfortable. It just made me really uncomfortable, just their vibe. I was like, no thank you, I'm good. And I let them go, and I went to my bus stop, and I only had to wait a few minutes. Another time I was heading to my dance class in the dark. This was a few years ago. I feel like it was like in 2018 maybe. And something my mom taught me from being a young child, to something she had taught me as a young person, is when you're walking down a street, walk against traffic. Don't walk with the traffic. Walk against traffic while you're on the sidewalk, so that it makes it less easy for someone to stop and grab you or something. So I usually do that most of the time, especially if I'm going a long way somewhere. I'll walk on the opposite side of the street. But this one time in 2018, I'm thinking, I was walking to dance class on a street that I usually walk on in the daytime if I walk on it. And I had gotten off the bus like with a few minutes prior to that. And I was walking up the street with traffic. And as I was walking up the street with traffic and it was super dark, I realized a truck was parking right next to me. And as soon as I saw he was parking right next to me, and I knew it was a guy, even though I couldn't even see him, I walked behind the truck and went across the street and walked as fast as I could, and he drove off. And what's weird is where he was parking right next to me, all up and down that street is a lot of car dealerships. So it would have been easy for me to say, oh, he's just dealing with the car dealership, let me just get past him. But no, I was like, I don't care how many car dealerships are on the street, for the way he was driving and the way he slid up next to me, I was like, let me get out of here. So that happened in 2018, I'm pretty sure. And then in 2023, this past summer, I was going to the park. When I get off of work, I come to the mall and I wait for a while, and then I'll go to the park sometimes in the summertime when I'm waiting for the bus to go home after work. And so that's what I was doing, and I was walking with traffic when I shouldn't have been, because there's not even a sidewalk, but I was walking with traffic. Somebody was pulling up next to me and they were like, you need a ride? I was like, no, I'm going right there. So I, after that, and I don't remember what time in the summertime it happened, like if it was the early, middle, or late part of summer, but after that, I stopped walking that side of the street, and I would go further down and then cross the street so that I wouldn't have to walk with traffic. I would be walking against traffic, but there's not a lot of sidewalks where how I was going. So car rides, I'm very wary of car rides, because there are incidents when you listen to news information, you know that things can happen. So I'm very cautious, very wary, and very, very, yeah, aware of my surroundings, very cautious, and I don't take rides from strangers. I have taken a few rides from strangers in very particular circumstances, but most of the time I won't, because I don't like that people just offer it, especially men just offer it. It makes me feel like unsafe. If they offered rides to men, that would be cool. Women offer rides to women, that would be cool. Women have offered me rides. But when men do it, I'm just like, I don't like that. And I feel like that wouldn't happen if I wasn't a woman. So the next thing is, okay. So when it comes to being followed by people in cars or being stalked by the same person in vehicles, that's something that I've been dealing with since 2012 up until now. Like, it is 2024 now, and since 2012 to 2024, last week or the week before last, I realized that there was a car that was watching me. And before, in 2012 up until 2019, I would recognize the car, not really knowing who the person was all the time. But now I don't even know who it is. 2023, I was on a bus, I saw a car pull up, and I was like watching it, and I told the bus driver about it, that they like were watching me, it seemed like. And the car had like tinted windows, it had no tags on the back of the car, it had no tags on the front of the car, and they seemed to be just like hovering around me near the bus stop. And when I got on the bus and I told the bus driver, the car ended up following us, and then they went their way after some time. But I was just like, I don't know who that is, I don't know why somebody's following me, but I don't like it, and it needs to stop. So that's been happening, and that's why I don't say where I live, because I already have enough problems with people like following me. And yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay. So one story with that is, one of the people that I suspected of stalking me, I did confront him. He was somebody from my previous congregation, and he tried to like say that I was a stalker because I used to write him letters. This was somebody that I used to have a crush on, whatever, and that was a waste of my time and my feelings. But like, I realized that he was doing that and he didn't want to admit it. Instead of admitting it, he tried to make it seem like I was the one doing that for writing letters to him, and I did stop writing the letters. But I was just like, you didn't answer my question, this is done. So we don't talk anymore, because I was just like, I don't like being disrespected. So the second incident, there's been multiple people that I've been noticing that stalks me, and I'll tell you in a minute how. The second incident in 2019, I made a police report about the person, and that's all I could do. I couldn't get a restraining order because I didn't get enough like gathered information to do that. But yeah, so I'm gonna say two things. So with this same person, I was let's see, so during my work days, sometimes I'll do my errands in the middle of the day and get them done so then I could go straight home after work. And during the summertime, I like to take walks, or I like to sit outside and just enjoy that time as well, like being outside, because inside where I work is very like covered, not a lot of windows. So I realized one of the first times I just tried to take a walk and not do an errand, that I was being followed by the same person that I did a police report on. And I didn't even get that far. I was not even off the first block that I had to get. I wasn't even off the block where my workplace was when I realized that the person that I had done a police report on was starting to follow me. And I was just like, okay, I'm not taking any walks. Only way I'm leaving the property where I work is if I am doing an errand. Other than that, like, I don't have the patience to be followed, because I'm going to have to take pictures of these people to get them caught. And I just don't have the capacity to like deal with that. And so I was like, I'm not taking walks. That's the first thing I was going to say. The second thing I was going to say is that the stalking has been from multiple different people. The first person that started it in 2012, they left the city, I think, from what I understand. And I haven't seen them. I'm grateful for that. The other people, I can't really tell who it is. I know it's been a woman sometimes. I know it's been uh, a lot of men, and I I don't know who it is, because they always have tinted windows. They like move around in darkness, move around in cover, and I'm just like, what is going on? So I'm gonna have to start taking pictures, but I don't know who it is. But it's been going on. Like, I'm minding my business, and then I realized that there's a car all of a sudden, like, in my vicinity that wasn't there before, who's not just going to where I'm going. They're just around me. And I'm just like, okay. And my brother seen it when he lived with me. He saw one of the first cars that was following me. And yeah, so he's seen it too. I've mentioned it to people in my congregation, but I don't know how to deal with it. And I don't take pictures as I should, because I'm just like, oh, that person was here for me. So yeah, it's just confusing. The next thing is, okay, let me make sure. Okay. Next thing, these are all just being a woman, and it's, these things can happen to any woman, whether she's pretty or not pretty. It's just, I feel like being a woman, because of how some men may perceive women, they don't take into consideration that we want to be respected and feel safe as well. So this is just what this is. So in December 2019, I had taken a break from my gym for a few months because I had gotten upset about something. And so December 2019, I was returning back to my gym after being gone for a few months. It was dark outside, and I went and did an errand, and then I came back on a bus. And when I came back towards my gym in the dark, I was sitting down and I was looking at something, and I was sitting near the bus driver, and somebody got on the bus and they sat right across from me, and I realized that this person was staring at me the whole time. And I was just like, okay, whatever. So then I get off the bus at my bus stop to go to my gym, and a guy gets off with me, and I was like, oh, great. So now when I get off the bus, I try to see if anyone else is getting off so that I won't have to have somebody right behind me. But anyway, so I didn't realize until he got off, and I was like, okay, let him go where he needs to go. Nope. I normally take a shortcut instead of like going through the street light and all that stuff. I usually take a shortcut and jaywalk across the street to my gym. So that's what I was about to do. But I realized, like, within seconds, that this man was following me to my gym. My gym was an all-women's gym, and I did not want that kind of energy over there, and I was very upset. So I turned around, I yelled at him, stop following me, like, go somewhere. And I, like, walked so fast out of the direction that I had been going in, and I did this weird thing. I felt like a very speedy bird. And I like zoomed out of there, and I looked behind me a couple of times once I was near the gym, and then I went inside the gym, and then I looked outside again to make sure he wasn't following me. But I like yelled at him because I was so annoyed. Like, why is this strange man who sat across from me on the bus, didn't say a single word to me, following me, being a creep, making me feel unsafe, uncomfortable? Like, I was so upset. So I got out of there, and it turns out like he wasn't there when I got out of the gym like an hour later, but I was pretty stressed, and I was just like, I cannot believe that just happened. So next thing is 2023. A few things happened when I was at a bus stop. One person offered me a ride at the bus stop in 2023 summertime. One person catcalled me at the bus stop 2023, not long after I saw the Barbie movie. And then another time, and then a different time, I saw a man eating at the bus stop, and so I like gave myself some space because I don't crowd people. I don't crowd anybody, men, women, children, especially not at a bus stop. And I wear a mask on the bus, like I said previously. But I saw a man eating, so I stood away, and then I saw like he moved around a little bit, so I moved around a little bit away from him. And then he said something to me that I won't share because I don't know if it's like safe for YouTube, but he said something to me, and I was like, see, that's why, no, like, don't talk to me. I told him after he said what he said. And then he had the nerve to get on the bus and told the bus driver, who happened to be a woman, and she's like the only female bus driver that we have now. All the other are men bus drivers. But he said to her, oh, she's harassing me and giving me a hard time, to the bus driver about me after he said the gross thing that he said to me. And I was just like, nope. And so later when I was about to get off the bus at the end of the ride, like I told her what actually happened, and she believed me, of course. But I was just like, don't be trying to turn around your behavior onto me when you shouldn't even have said what you said to me. And if I tell you not to speak to me, like, it shouldn't be an argument. Like, don't talk to me. So I was very annoyed by that. And he would not have ever said that to a man. Like, ever. Like, ever. So I was just like, not cool. And then, same bus stop, same summertime. And I'm going to be ending this video soon. But I was at my bus stop, and I usually have my back to the traffic, and I face anybody that could be passing behind me. And I had a sun hat on, I had my book bag on my back, and I was wearing whatever I was wearing. It was summertime, so it was warm outside, I'm pretty sure. And I was dressed. I usually wear dresses and skirts during the summertime, but I also wear pants. I could have been wearing any of those things. I will have my sunglasses on, and I didn't have my face mask on just yet. And so I was standing at the bus stop with my back to the traffic, and I saw a tall, broad man, right? And he was nearby one of the businesses that's behind me, that's like in the direction that I was looking in. He was near one of them, and he was kind of like looking, and then he wasn't looking, and I thought he was going to the business not far from me. So I was like, okay, nope. All of a sudden, I see this man like walking towards me. And I'm not going to give a lot of context, but if you ever heard of the Delphi cases with the two young girls and that man that was going towards them, there's times when I see people walking towards me, and it gives me the energy of that man, and I get very scared and uncomfortable. The way that man was walking towards me that day, I was just like, does he think I'm not looking at him? Like, why is he coming over here? And he was kind of walking slow, but he was also kind of walking fast. And he was tall. He was like over 6 foot, and he was broad, and it was just very strange energy. And he finally, like, I don't know how to measure distances with my eyes or even by like the actual measurements, but he wasn't far from me at this point when all of a sudden he veered to his to his left, when he finally realized that I was staring at him the whole time. And I was just like, what was he coming over here to do? It's a good thing I was looking that way. And that's why I always look about what's going on around me. Because, yeah, there's people that have come to that bus stop who literally only seem to come there because I was there. And then they would leave if I moved away, or they would leave once the bus got there. And I was just like, yeah, I don't have time for this. So all of those being a woman. So the last story I'm going to share is about the stranger named John, and that's the name that he gave me, but I am very sure that's not his real name. This man gave me nomadic vibes, like he did not stay in one place at all times, like he seemed like a nomad. And he was a very good looking man. He was a white man, blonde hair, blue eyes, very, very handsome face. Very good looking, very friendly, and he was showing me tattoos at a bus stop one time, and I was like, I'm not really interested in tattoos, but you can show me your artwork. I could tell my brother about it. My brother still lives here at the time, and I was just like, but okay. So very good looking man, and when we got on the bus, I don't remember if I talked to him or not, but I didn't really want to. I don't care how good looking someone is. I don't really want to talk to somebody all the time. So I was just like, okay. So then the next time I saw him, I was at the library in the downtown area, and he was there too, and like he was sitting with me and talking with me or whatever, and I was like, okay, like you're cute, but you're not cute enough. Like I just don't have enough of an interest. So I was just like, okay, yeah. So another time I saw him, and like he left me alone. Another time I saw him, we were going into the library at the same time, but I saw where he went and I went in the opposite direction. He opened the door for me. Another time I was downtown. Downtown is one of my favorite places to be, but I don't go there often. I was walking somewhere, I forget where, but it was dark outside, and he saw me, recognized me. He was like, oh, I wish I could give you a ride, but my truck is broken down and it's like parked somewhere. And I was like, nope, that's okay. Like I wouldn't take a ride anyway, and I'm good where I'm going. I forget where I was going because this was years ago. It was like 2015 or something. But I was like, no, I'm good. Like I wouldn't take a ride, but you're cool, whatever. And so somehow I was able to get him to like leave me. And another time I was at a bus stop in a different area of town, and he saw me, and he was in a car, and he went past me, and then he came back to pick me up, and I was like, hi John, like, no, I don't want to ride, like, I'm good, I'm gonna just wait for the bus. And he parked in the area that only the bus should park because the traffic that goes through there is really fast. So he parked, and I was just like, don't park, like, just go. But I thought he was a very handsome man, but unless I show initial interest in somebody, I don't want their attention towards me. And I didn't know what his intentions were, but I didn't feel unsafe with him, but I was not comfortable with him 100% as well, because he was a complete stranger. After those 5 or 6 or 7 interactions that I had with him, I never saw him again in town, and that was years ago. So I don't know what his deal was, but, and I'm assuming he knew that he was good looking, but whether a person is good looking to me or not, like, I'd rather them speak to me or not speak to me if I ask them not to speak to me if I'm uncomfortable. But yeah, being a woman, like dealing with all those kinds of things is not fun, because men surely, yes, can deal with some of those situations. But I feel like being a woman, being the weaker vessel, and being the one that's usually like being harmed in different stories of real life, I don't feel safe all the time when somebody's attention is on me when I am least expecting their attention or don't want their attention. So like I said in my comment, like I would love it for women to like not get unwanted attention from men. especially if she's making it clear that she's not interested romantically, she's not interested in a friendship, she's not interested in having a conversation. Like, that shouldn't be very hard for people to understand. And I want men and women to be safe, but I'm a woman and I care even more about the safety of women and children, but definitely want men to be safe. And so that's what I got from that woman's video. It just made me think of all the times that I felt unsafe, uncomfortable. Somebody was doing something that I was not expecting, and so I just wanted to do this video. And like I said, I saw that video in November 2020, but it's taken me this long to even say, am I going to talk about that? Will I share it? And I think I will. So that's the end of this group of stories and feelings. But I do love being a woman, and I do feel comfortable in my own skin, but I wish that people would interact with me in a way that was like more gentle and easygoing, not like, yeah, just I don't even know how to say it, but yeah, because every interaction with a woman is not going to get a date or a friendship. It's just going to be like strangers meeting and passing each other and leaving each other alone, like men have with men interaction. So it should be the same. It's just that women are not treated the same as men are treated by other men, and it's not always fun in my opinion. So hopefully my video is making sense, but that's the end of my video. Please let me know if you have any more questions. Let me know if you agree with me, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a good week. Bye.